Page 336, Chapter 20 continued. I made good time and got there before visiting hours were over. Stepping into Pat's room, I was shocked to see him lying there, wrapped up like a mummy. From his waist to the top of his head, wide white gauze went around and around, seeming to go on forever. Even his hands were covered right to the fingertips. He had little slits in the gauze where his eyes were supposed to be, and a slit to eat and drink. He snickered as soon as he saw me, and sat up in bed, ready to tell me about his grand adventure. "For God's sakes, what did you do? What did you do?" I stammered. "Ha ha! Ooh! Don't make me laugh. It hurts when I laugh," he chortled. That was Pat, wrapped up like King Tut's brother, and he thought it was hilarious. As I sat there in awe, staring at his awful bandages, I suddenly remembered my jacket. That leather coat meant the world to me. Yes, probably even more than my friendship to this bedridden dummy. I snapped, "So what happened to my coat, stupid?" "Hey, what's more important, your motorcycle jacket or me getting blown up?" he giggled. I had thought that over just seconds before, but I didn't answer. He looked pretty damaged, and I tried not to get upset. I sat there feeling so sorry for him and feeling like somehow I had caused the whole thing. I don't know why I felt so guilty about what had happened. I had warned him, really warned him, but to no avail. He hadn't listened, and now I was the one feeling guilty. I felt bad, mad, confused about the whole thing. "Give me a smoke. I need a smoke," he suddenly begged. Surprisingly, in those days, you could smoke anywhere in the hospital, anywhere, even at the nurse's station. If oxygen was in use in the room, it was forbidden. Otherwise, anywhere. "Are you supposed to smoke with all those bandages?" I questioned. "Hell no," he quickly answered. "But give me a smoke. I need a smoke." Lighting a cigarette, I carefully placed it in the hole in his mouth. Quickly taking a drag, he seemed happy for a couple of seconds, and then he blew it out. Some of the smoke came out of his mouth hole. The rest shot from his eye slits, like twin glass packs on a hot rod. It didn't seem to bother him a bit. He lay there like a mummified dragon, smoke coming from every orifice. Finally, he handed me the glowing butt, gingerly holding it between his gauzed fingers, and said, "Here, put this out, and I'll tell you the whole funny story. You're going to love this, man. You're going to love it." He carefully leaned forward and whispered, "I don't know if you know this, but those Al Capone bombs are the real thing." I sat up in mock surprise and gushed, "No, really? What did I tell you that night? Didn't I tell you they were real?" He thought about that for a moment and then repeated, "Yeah, but now I'm telling you, those babies really blow up." I sat there in defeat and let him continue. "I got home okay that night, and that jacket kept me really warm." I started to say something, but he stopped me and quickly said, wait a minute. "Well, the next day I went down to the hot dog shop downtown. You know, the one with the red and white checkers painted all over the front. I go inside and order a couple of dogs with just mustard. Just mustard, 'cause you know I can't stand ketchup or relish. Ketchup always makes food look like a picture out of a crime magazine. All of them dead French fries covered in blood. And relish, well, relish looks like dragon barf and probably tastes like it too. So I gets me my dogs and a Coke, and I go sit down by the front window. What do you suppose happens next? What do you think?" I leaned forward in my seat, waiting for him to tell me about the explosion, and he said, "They forgot the straw. That's what. Here I sits with a new glass of Coke and no straw." I couldn't believe what he was talking about, and I jumped from my chair shouting, "Get to the point, Pat! Get to the damn point, you idiot!" He leaned back in his pillow and whined, "Geez, that's what I'm trying to do. Give me a little space, buddy. Give me a little space." Gathering his thoughts, he lay there a moment, snickered, and started to continue on. Just then the night nurse came in and said, "It's really close to closing time, and this young man needs his rest." I answered quickly, "Yes, I'll just be a few more minutes, please. Please, just a few more minutes." This seemed to satisfy her, and she left the room. Grabbing his hand and making him jump with pain, I fiercely whispered, Come on, man, what happened? What about the bomb? Taking a deep breath and then chuckling like an idiot, he continued, Well, they finally bring me a straw, you know, the red and white ones with the stripes to match the color scheme. I closed my eyes and bit my tongue as I sat there. I knew if I interrupted, I'd never hear the whole story. So I settled in and ate my dog, sucking that red and white straw like it was a 4-barrel carburetor. Then I gets done and decide to have a smoke while I watch the girls out the window. You know, a lot of pretty girls go by that big old window every day. Come on, I snapped. Pat turned to me, and I think he's frowning, but I can't tell for certain because of the bandages. Well, I was wearing your motorcycle jacket, you know, and that draws a lot of attention from the ladies. So I sits there looking good, and as I reach for my lighter, what do I find? That little old fake Al Capone bomb. I sets it in the ashtray, and now I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna scare everyone in the place. I looks at it, and I can see the fuse was real. I know a cherry bomb fuse when I see one, and I'm no idiot, you know. I figured the bomb was filled with sawdust or something, so I pushes the bomb in the ashtray out to the edge of the table and lights the thing. Guess what? Then he sat there waiting for me to answer, and I shouted, What? What? Nobody in the whole damn hot dog shop even noticed. Here I am with a lit bomb in an ashtray, and no one was looking. So I hollered, Hey, look at this. And as everyone turned around, then he fell silent as he lay there looking at the ceiling. I gave him a moment and said, And then? He raised his hands and moaned, The next thing I knew, I was lying in the street, covered with broken glass, and my chest was smoldering like a trash fire. True, I felt bad for him, really bad, but I had warned him over and over, and he just didn't get it. We sat there for a few minutes, and as I thought over the tragedy, something occurred to me again. Hey, where's my coat? I asked him. Suddenly he snickered, and I could tell he was a little better. It's right there in that closet, I think. I quickly stood up, and he shouted, Hey, before you open the door, remember that jacket saved my life. That was a warning that made me brace myself as I crossed the room, clasped the little brass handle, and pulled. Before the door was open an inch or two, I could smell the sulfur and burnt leather. Then I pulled it open, and there it was, or wasn't. It looked like a shredded black cabbage with zippers. It was worthless, ruined, history. Even the sacred rabbit's foot was gone. Weeks later, Pat hitchhiked down to see me. He looked better than I expected. A few pink scars here and there, but he was all right. He promised he would buy me a new coat. I knew he wouldn't. I knew he couldn't. The jacket saved his life, and I guess that's all that mattered. I guess. Yeah, I guess. The jerk!